What's going on, everybody? Kamish here. Week 3, Legion of the Bad Boys. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. Week 3. We are testing out new camera angle and flow of the video. So please comment down if you like this preferred flow over the last 2 videos. Let's jump right into it. We're going to start off with the offer reports. Due process, Daniel LaBelle picked up Alec Pierce for $421 on the waivers. Delnor Diddlers put in an offer for $125, and the Jimmy Stuffers put in an order for $96. Kick Bass put in $400, 40% of the budget there for Kareem Hunt. The Stuffers put in a bid of $50. The commish, me here, I put in a offer for Bucky Irving at $170. Try to get the handcuff for Rashad White. And then the Martini Police also put in an offer of $13. Jimmy Stuffers put in a offer of $120 for Carson Steele. The Barsuganators put in an offer for Juwan Jennings, $28. That worked out pretty well from there. 40-something points there for Juwan, but we'll get into that later. Derek Carr goes to the Martini Police for $25. And Baker Mayfield goes to the Martini Police for $25. 2 pickups there. Both, I'm pretty sure, did not play that well this week. The Barsuganators put in an offer for Jordan Winnington and Demarcus Robinson, but didn't get them because he already dropped the player. The commish put in an offer for the Raiders, $15. Poor pickup there. Hate to see it. Martini Police added kicker Blake Grepe for $2. Jack's daddy put in a bid for Hunter Henry at $1. And then that was it for Wednesday. Let's go to Saturday here. The Knights Who Say Snee, $355 on Jake Ferguson. He had a lot of targets, had a good game. We'll see how that goes for him. All right, that's it for the offer report. Let's get into our next section.
Catch lightning in the bottle, set fire to water coming out the nozzle on the fire hose.
All right, to start off the matchups this week, we have the commish versus the Martini Police. Martini Police taking down the commish 107.58 to the commish's 70.6. Top scorer for Martini Police this week is Kyron Williams. He had 24 carries, 89 rush yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 receptions, 27 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown through the air. 30.6 points there for Kyron. The commish's top scorer is Zach Charbonnet. 18 carries, 91 rush yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 3 receptions, and then 16 receiving yards for 24.2 fantasy points. Solid week here for Joey. Amon-Ra St. Brown's kicking it back into high gear. Chris Godwin, another solid week there. The commish kind of just had a bunch of stinkers, a bunch of duds. Hoping that doesn't happen week to week. Bad week there for the commish. Nothing else to really say about that. Going on to the next matchup, we actually have the segment taking out the trash. We're just gonna speed along through this one because I do not have as much time today. The Barsuganators 137.66 to Jack's daddy 83.18. This is the biggest deficit of the week. The Barsuganators top scorer Juwan Jennings. Let's see, 11 receptions, 175 yards, 3 touchdowns on 12 targets for 41 fantasy points. Great pickup there for Keegs with all of those Niner dogs being out. Jack's daddy's lead scorer here's Lamar Jackson. He had 182 passing yards, 1 touchdown through the air, 14 carries, 87 yards of rushing, and then 1 rushing touchdown for 26 fantasy points there for Jack's daddy. Just a good week from the Barsuganators. He had 2 guys put up duds in Mark Andrews and Donta Foreman, but it did not matter. When you got a guy like Juwan Jennings going for 41, you're destined to have a good week. And then for the for Jack's daddy here. Drake London, pretty good game there, 15 points. He had a touchdown. Devonta Smith kind of got shook up, 11 fantasy points. 83 points for Jack's daddy. It's usually not going to get you the win, but Barsuganators 2-1, Jack's daddy 1-2. Going on to the next matchup, we have Jimmy Stuffers versus the Del Norte Diddlers. There's some commotion going on in the group chat. Jack's daddy's talking shit before the matchup's over. Jack's team ended up losing by 5 to the Diddlers. Josh Allen did not play the fourth quarter once again, but it is what it is. So the Diddlers 110 to Jimmy Stuffers 105. Top scorer for the Diddlers here is Saquon Barkley, 31 fantasy points. He had 17 carries for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions and 9 receiving yards. Great game there for Saquon, looking like RB1 this year. And then top scorer for Jimmy Stuffers here is Josh Allen. 263 yards through the air, 4 passing touchdowns, 6 carries for 44 yards. That'll give you 31 fantasy points. Great week. Just not going to do it. Diddlers put a Deontay Johnson start out there, and that won him the week. Great play there from the Diddlers. Got to respect it. Diddlers move on to 2-1. Jimmy Stuffers to 1-2. Let's go into the next matchup here. We have the Knights Who Say Snee taking down Due Process. This was the 2-0 divisional rivalry game here. See who come out 3-0. And the Knights Who Say Snee topped Due Process 118 to 86. Top scorer is Rashee Rice for the Knights Who Say Snee. 12 receptions, 110 yards, and 1 touchdown on 14 targets. Great game there from Rashee Rice. 23 fantasy points. Due Process's top scorer here is Derrick Henry. 29.9 fantasy points. 25 carries, great load there for Derrick Henry. 151 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and he also had a reception for 23 yards. You just need some of those filler guys to score you a little bit more points, Daniel. It's kind of the big thing. It's like you can have a big hitter, you can have a great start, but that wide receiver 2 flex position needs to be putting up more points for you to get a win. Moving on to the next matchup, we have the Boners taking down Netflix and Hill. The Boners top scorer, the Boners 133 to Netflix and Hill's 105. Great comeback week here for the Boners. Top scorer Dak Prescott, 29 fantasy points. Threw for 379 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and then he also rushed 1 in on 2 carries for 7 rushing yards. Great game for Dak there, even though they lost the game. Netflix and Hill's top scorers Brock Purdy. He had 292 passing yards on 3 touchdowns, all of those going to Jennings. And then he did have a fumble, but 10 carries for 41 yards. That'll get you an extra 4 points there, so that's got to be good. He ended up with 25 points. The Boners just had Jonathan Taylor, 26, David Montgomery, almost scoring 20 points there for him. Netflix and Hill, Dallas Goedert had a massive game, and then Zach Moss also had a really good game. So Netflix and Hill starts 0-3, but he's had some tough matchups. The Boners making a statement, started 0-2, said, let me come out and score almost the most points in the league this week. I need to come back. So looking good for the Boners there. Don't count out Netflix and Hill yet. He can still put up points. Going down to the last matchup here, we have Dr. Doom's Dementor Army versus Kick Bass. Kick Bass took the win here, 93.36 to Dr. Doom's 56.54, sorry. Leading scorer here for Kick Bass is Joe Burrow, 25.36 fantasy points. He had 324 yards passing on 3 touchdowns, 1 carry for 4 yards, 25 points. great week there for Joe Burrow, even though they couldn't get the win against the Commanders. I think that defense is just really struggling early here. Doctors Doom's Dementors just did not have a good week. It is what it is. You really hope for a little comeback here, but we'll see. Top scores Jalen Hurts with 10.9 for fantasy points there, so that's a tough top scorer, only 10 points. He threw for 311 yards, 1 interception, 1 fumble, and then rushed for 25 yards as well. It is what it is. Not too much to talk about here. Kick Bass has these Vikings players. Vikings looking great. Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson. Both 2 great starts. 2 guys you like having on your team. And that is the end of the matchups.
To the present, Boston, don't ask how. Fuck the past, motherfucker, he's the shit right now.
All right, going into the standings through 3 weeks. We have the Charmander division. Top of the division here is the Barsuganators at 2-1. The Del Norte Diddlers falling in a close second here at 2-1 as well. And then we have the Jimmy Stuffers at 1-2 and Jack's Daddy at 1-2. For the Squirtle division, we have the Knights Who Say Snee at 3-0, the only 3-0 team. Due Process at 2-1, the Boners at 1-2, and then Netflix and Hill at 0-3. For the Bulbasaur division, we have the Martini Police at 2-1. We have Kick Bass at 2-1, and we have the Commish at 2-1. And then Dr. Dooms is at 0-3 right now. And that will be it for the standings. That'll be it for the recap this week. Did not have as much time this week, guys, but it is what it is. No clips, but we'll be back for week 4, and I will see you guys there.